Somebody actually ignores, their reputation, it could cost people millions. We were working with a consulting company that was doing about $900 million a year. They estimate they were losing somewhere between $13 to $15 million a month by the fact that they weren't even taking care of this. They were actually on Ripoff Report, they were on Complaints Board, but Ripoff Report, if you're familiar with Ripoff Report and you've been on this site, it's painful when you lose a client and they call you back and cancel or do a chargeback on their credit card because they're like, oh my gosh, they're on Ripoff Report, and people get scared. The silly thing that people don't know about SEO is like when you respond to bad content, it actually drives the rankings up. And so I many times have to tell people, listen, I know you're angry, I know you're upset, do not respond, do not comment on it. So it takes some strategy to like pull people back and do things that are actually going to drive the Ripoff Report down. Once you're on a Ripoff Report or a complaints board, there's definitely urgency because now it's impacting your bottom line and your revenue.
Yeah, it's something to deal with right away.
Right. So this consulting company that was doing $900 million a year, literally within a month, we were writing about 500 social media posts every single month. We were actually writing another 500 Twitter posts every month. We were doing 60 articles a month at 1,000 words each. And we did this literally for 3 years. They were in something we called the Google Auto Suggest. So if I go into Google right now and I type in, we'll put in some words, corporate consulting. And see, as we put in the corporate consulting, we see that there's a bunch of suggestions that come up. A lot of these companies that get on Ripoff Report and they have a lot of complaints, if let's just say the company was called PQR Roofing, right? When they put in PQR Roofing, right after that comes up complaints or so scams.
That's the first deterrent right away.
Exactly.
So that's a red flag for any potential customer is like, okay, this is obviously ranking really high. They must have a lot of negative reviews.
Exactly.
Maybe they won't even get to the search page.
That's going to impact that. And we've actually cleared the auto suggest, which actually has to do with creating a lot of content. And then we would post those on different sites like Tumblr, Blogspot, and there was so many different sites that we would post it on. I'll show you actually.
So spreading it, throughout a bunch of different mediums so that.
Yeah. Like here's a list of the content and you can see how frequent it is. And so all these are all in the same day, but it just keeps going and going. And we're putting these up on WordPress, Storify, Tumblr. These are high domain authority sites. And what this does is it creates what we call a digital firewall. So that way there, when people type in the name of your company, now the content is coming up first versus like all the bad stuff.
Right.
And you've got to do it consistently. You just don't do it for a week.
Yeah, you have to.
And you're good.
Yeah.
And it takes time for it to actually happen.
Months.
Creating a certain behavior, and then it takes a lot of work. It's not simple, to get there, because what Google does is they look at the trends on your company, and then they start to auto-suggest that. So the question is, if you are on Ripoff Report, even if you push it down to number 9 or number 10, the question is, how far down do you want the Ripoff Report to be? Most people want it on like the 50th page of Google, so nobody finds it. And I can tell you that I've heard some crazy stories of people that had huge deals that were happening, and then all of a sudden the client went ghost. Like nobody wanted to talk to you and you had no idea what happened.
Yeah.
And this happens. The sad part with a bad reputation is Google can't send you a postcard saying, congratulations, you just lost, $2.7 million last year.
Yeah, it could happen within a week or overnight, basically.
Exactly. I think we've shifted into a society where like every little thing in business is important because of Google.
And the microscope is really on, that's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no hiding if you're doing poor business. So it's exceedingly crucial to make sure that across the board, all of those things are being met and nothing's being, left.
Right. So another site that they were actually on was called Pissed Off Consumer. And this is online consumer reviews. And, many times people do all sorts of weird things. So that's why you have to like really monitor like what's going on. So this is one called Pissed Off Consumer. I mean, there's so many sites out there, even for jobs. I mean, sometimes even when I hire people for my company, like I'll Google their name and I'm like, oh, there's a lawsuit.
Right.
Like, oh man, I wonder what happened there,
Right.
And so
They show up under mugshot.
yeah,
Who knows?
I know even companies these days, a lot of them do background checks with everything going on in the world.
And
They do Google checks.
They also do Facebook checks now.
Exactly.
So they're looking at like, as a whole, what is this person like? So
Right.
it gets pretty intimate.
Reputation management can literally like haunt you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know people that get up, early in the morning, like, oh my gosh, it's still there.
Well,
And-
and it plays into the psyche too,
Right.
And it's not what you're dwelling on as a business owner.
Reviews are like the oxygen of business
The
these
updated
days.
Yellow Pages.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you for all that amazing knowledge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And if anybody, wants information, we invite you guys to reach out. You can message us on social media. We'll make sure that we interact with
Right.
you. And if you have any questions that you want, we're happy to like respond to people and help them out. Whether you hire us or not, like do a free evaluation and let us just open up what is being worked on
Mhm.
as just a third party advice.
Right.
Because many times,
Conversation,
like, we'll talk to companies and they'll be like, I'm totally fine, I got it covered, I got somebody in-house, or I'm working with the company. And then we get in there and we look at it and we realize they're missing 90% of what we do.
Right.
And that owner would have never had any idea that they weren't getting all the other stuff.
Right.
I know a lot of these calls that we do, people go, oh my gosh, this call's worth like $10,000.
Right.
Like,
And is that a free consultation?
yeah, it's a free consultation that we do for people. And then it's totally up to them whether or not they want to work with us.
Right.
Because what we do takes a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like pressing a few buttons.
Right.
Here and there, we put a lot of thought into it. So if someone doesn't have the right mentality, which I call just like a long-term marathon mentality for business,
Mm-hmm.
then they're not going to be in business too long.
Right.
Yeah.